Okay, so now we're going to build in the end. This, of course, is the, I was calling it a reducer. It's not. It continues the same width of watertight cylinder. It just means that I can break it off when I put an O-ring in there. This is I've just taken this piece of cylinder out, and I haven't even cut it. It's just the perfect length. It will take that bank of relays very nicely, and they fit nicely in between the reducer and the end cap. And what I've done here now is I've bent a piece of plastic, Perspex. I actually got it a bit hot at the end, not that that's a problem. And I end up grinding that down a little bit so that I can screw it into the end. So where we're up to now is I've got all the parts that need to go into the control room. As you can see, that's the bank of relays, and I'm now just trying to work out where everything's going to go, and then where the wires are going to go out of here and so on. So it's a bit of a fiddle. Originally I had this around the other way, but that was a waste of space. So now I've dropped it right down, and this now nice and easily fits in here and so on. So let's work it out. So this is where this is going to fit, and I've cut that semicircle out at the end, which is where the wires are going to exit from. Just putting things together now to see how they fit. They've obviously got to fit around the end of the piston when it goes through, which is a bit obtrusive. But I'm just finding out where it's all going to fit. I need a small servo to be the reset servo for the Arduino. Alright then, now one of the things I've got to do is obviously thread a number of wires out of the various end caps. Let me show you how this is going to work, and they're all going to run under the watertight cylinders so that they're not that obvious, but there's going to be a few of them. Let me show you. This is the stern end cap. This is the end cap that has the pump on it. And this is the bow end cap. So we're going to have the main power, the LiPo battery in here. So I'm going to run 2 wires, that'll be 2, from the stern to the bow. And they won't be broken, there'll be one solid wire and it'll all be sealed. Those wires will go in there and go through the speed controller and what have you. And out of here will come 2 more wires back into there for the motors. So this is the power, that's the motors. Secondly, and I'll put this, these aren't going across the top, but I'm going to have wires that go to the pump. So that's 6 wires coming out of here, trailing around, and they're all going to be solid, won't have connectors, they'll be in there permanently. Then we need hydroplanes, and I'm going to use thin strip wire, a band of 6 wires that will come out of here and run around here into there. So that's the hydros, and it'll be a little thin strip of 6. The same here into the bow, and that's going to connect to the upper part of the boat. That's hydros 6. Then I'm going to put the only waterproof switch connector in, which will be 2 wires that will go to the on-off switch on the side of the hull. So I can just disconnect that, take that out. That'll be a magnetic on-off switch, like I've used on the U-boat. Then there's plumbing. I'm going to have 2 tubes running out of here, which will go to the trim tanks, but they'll be semi-permanently plumbed in. I won't have to touch that once that's in, because that's fixed. I'll have 1 tube here, which will take a tube which will go to the, which will be the pressure gauge. So the pressure gauge sits in here. I just have to plug a rubber tube on there. And that's about it. That's how many wires are running in and out. And as you can see, there's a lot running in and out of this top, and I'm going to have to control that very nicely. but I'm going to use a good system for making sure it's sealed. I've done it before and it'll work really well. Let's go. Alright, now one other thing I've decided is to reconfigure this, because I'll have the low voltage side on this side where the Arduino is, and the high voltage stuff on this side, which has the main power, has the battery, has the input relays. One of the reasons for that is that underneath here the wires from the Arduino then can control these wires on this side, and this is the bank of high power wires that are going to go from here to the motors. So I'll keep all one on one side and keep everything on this side, which means I'm also going to put on this side and on this side some plugs which are going to be high voltage, low voltage. Okay. So this is my well-worn and well-used process for bringing wires in and out of the control room and the other end caps. These are the circuit diagrams that you'll find on the website for the various components. This is the input relay. This is wiring up the Arduino, and you can see it's all there, plus the capacitors. It's all in there. And this one is wiring up the relays, the power to the two servos, and the various bits and bobs. So it's all there. And I'm now just, the way this has to work is that I have to thread wires through that little Perspex cap, through the hole, into the control room area so that I can work it. And at this point I have the relays all working. You hear all three of them clicking on and off. They're powered up and they're fine. What I'm doing now is that the relays are working. I've got to connect up to them, so I'm just checking which pins become live and which pins don't. Very good idea to have a multimeter to help you with this, although that's all I tend to use it for, is just checking for that kind of thing. Okay, stage one is complete. What I've got is just a 4.8 volt battery pack. That's going to be the one that sits in the boat. That's connected here. I've got this connector here for the 9 volt battery for the Arduino. I've got these wires now running through this little cap. These two thick ones go right the way down to the stern for the main battery. This one here will connect to the magnetic door catch. At the moment I've just got it connected to an ordinary switch. So when I turn this, you can hear a click. And that's all of the relays turning on and off at once. They run through two fuses. I've got this here is the common earth, this black wire running underneath. This one, this red wire here is going to be the 11 volts in, and this one over here is the 4.8 volts in. So I've separated them out, and now we go to step 2, which is to wire up the Arduino.